As we are in the month of Ramadan right now, there are a lot of non-Muslims who are either learning about Ramadan for the first time, which is amazing, or maybe you're learning a little bit more about the month of Ramadan compared to when you were first exposed to it in years past, which is all awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. And I really want to push you all to make this mindset shift. A lot of times when non-Muslims first hear about Ramadan and especially about fasting, which just so you know, Ramadan is not just about fasting during sunrise hours. However, I understand why it takes center stage and it gets a lot of attention, especially from non-Muslims. So having said that, when non-Muslims learn about fasting during the month of Ramadan and that it's no food, no water, not at all from sunrise to sunset, whether you're in the summer months or the winter months, no matter where you are in the world. So sometimes your fast might be a little bit longer than people living in other parts of the world because the sun is out longer or shorter compared to those other places. A lot of non-Muslims will react whether they say it out loud or whether they bite their tongue successfully and they just keep it on the inside. Those are inside thoughts. They will react by something along the lines of, oh my God, I could never do that. Go that long without food or water or coffee. Oh my, I would die. Now, I understand where this comes from, especially as this is something that is brand new to you. It's not part of your lived experience. It really seems very foreign. And to keep in mind that Ramadan and fasting during the month of Ramadan is not about depriving ourselves of food and water just for kicks, just for funsies. Muslims believe very deeply in our faith, in our religion, in our relationship with God. And we are doing all of what is involved in Ramadan, including, yes, fasting and keeping ourselves from food and drink all of these hours during the daylight hours, whether we're at work, whether we're at school, whatever it is that we're doing, if we're a stay-at-home parent and taking care of children and cooking for those children during the day, even though we ourselves are fasting, all of the struggle that comes with that. And yes, of course it is a struggle, but the point is that it is so deeply meaningful because it is tied to something outside of ourselves and a higher purpose and meaning to our lives. This concept of connecting something that you're struggling to do and achieve to a higher purpose that you have, that something you truly believe in, is something that all peoples across different cultures, across different religions, or if you are atheist, agnostic, don't believe in any particular religion, I'm sure you also can very much relate. For instance, if you are a parent and you have a child, being a parent, I'm not a parent, just to be transparent, but I know as much as anyone can who is not actually a parent how incredibly difficult it is to be a parent when they're crying, when they need something, when they wake you up all hours of the night, when you have to clean up messes and when you have to leave work to go and take care of them at school and when you have to take care of their fighting and on and on. And like, that is incredibly difficult physical work, emotional work, but you do this because you deeply wanted to be a parent and this is so deeply meaningful to you. Similarly as well, if someone is trying to learn to run a marathon, for me, Rahim as an individual, I do not like running. I was so grateful. I knew exactly the day in high school, which was the last day that I would ever have to run a mile for PE. And I have been so grateful and so happy ever since not to have to run miles. But some people, bless them, I wish them well. They really like to run marathons. But whether that's your thing or not, we can all appreciate that that is incredibly, incredibly difficult. And I, right, me looking from the outside in, can say, oh my God, I can't believe that they're doing this. I would never, I just would never do that. But for them, this is something that is deeply meaningful to them. This is something they want to achieve. This is what they want to strive for. And that meaning makes it all worth it. So hopefully you can see where I'm going with this analogy. Fasting during the month of Ramadan. Again, the month of Ramadan is way more than just fasting, but even if we're just looking at fasting, if you are a non-Muslim and you are looking at this practice and thinking, oh my gosh, that is so difficult, I could never. While I respect, you don't have to, you are not Muslim, you don't have to fast. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But also a matter of like you yourself have things that are meaningful for you that you want to strive and achieve that are very difficult to do, and yet you still do them because of the meaning that you find in doing them.